And we are live. Welcome, guys. Caught me in a bad setup there. It went live way too soon. All right, guys. I'd like to welcome you guys to another live. So today we're going to be talking about something which is very interesting, guys. So I was doing my research this morning, and obviously, as you guys know, the main purpose of me going live is it forces me to go ahead and basically, come on, let's fix this mic right here. Okay. So it forces me to go ahead and basically do my research to basically learn more so I can go ahead and give you guys more value. So today we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency. And I don't know if you guys know what crypto is or the origin of crypto or what is crypto, right? So basically, we're going to be diving deeper into, is cryptocurrency actually a worthy investment? Because there's a lot of people out there that are currently, on the fence, and they're like, you know what? I want to go ahead and, I want to, diversify my portfolio. I want to go ahead and make more money. I want to go ahead and, get richer if getting rich is your thing, or whatever it is that is your thing. But then again, there's a bunch of investments out there, and cryptocurrency just happens to be one of them. So if you're watching this video, just do me a favor and go ahead and hit the like button. I know we got a few people here that are liking the video. Go ahead, the like button, guys, and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. So first thing first, let's go ahead and talk about it. So I'm kind of a little bit of a skeptic. I've started, kind of taking on that notion of being a skeptic. And the reason why I'm a skeptic is because, okay, so just because somebody tells you that something's good for you doesn't mean it's good for you, right? So you have to do your own independent research. And as you guys know, what's currently going on with the media tells you one thing and it might be other thing. It's all opinions. It's all, whatever it is somebody else wants you to believe, right? So for this, let's go ahead and kind of dive deeper into this. So I was doing my research and I found out that 75%, so apparently majority of Americans aren't actually confident in the safety and reliability of crypto, right? So 75% of people aren't confident, and they aren't confident in the reliability of crypto, right? And there's a stronger demographic of people. That's about 17% of the US adults, which is basically between the ages of, usually the age group we see as we continue between the ages of pretty much 17 and 35, that strongly believe in crypto, because people are like, you know what, it's not regulated by the government doesn't have control of it, it's independent, and all that good stuff that basically goes with basically having your own independent currency, right? So I'm very fascinated. This is just personally my fascination as to what is the origins of crypto. And I'm also very curious because I'm probably thinking of even investing in crypto, and I want to know, is crypto like something good or something bad? So we're going to go ahead and take a listen to this. So this guy goes ahead and explains what is crypto, what's cryptocurrency, is cryptocurrency that's and I want you guys to kind of let's go ahead and give this a listen here, and let's see what he's talking about and if he's actually legit.
So I'm going to explain to you what cryptocurrency is in about 60 seconds or less. To begin, cryptocurrency is an alternative form of payment to cash, credit cards, and checks. The technology behind it allows you to send it directly to others without going through a third party like a bank. Normally, if I wanted to send you money, yes, you watching this video, I would ask you to pull up one of those apps, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, whatever you plan to use. Cryptocurrencies solve the problem and allows us to skip this and work through creating a public record of all the transactions, which are bundled into blocks and then cryptographically signed. This is why you may have heard of the word blockchain, commonly referred to within the crypto space. The most famous cryptocurrency, of course, is going to be Bitcoin, which has been used previously in the past since 2009. Now, the easiest way to learn crypto is by doing it yourself, meaning
I'm not really convinced with his explanation, because for me, I watched this video a little bit. I'm curious what you guys take on it is. I'm not really convinced about it, so I want to go ahead and let's go and dive deeper real quick. So we're going to dive deeper real quick, and let's make this a little bit shorter. Let's kind of shorten this. I don't want to
that works on blockchain
we're going to actually
and is designed to work as a medium of exchange online to buy goods and services and make payments, which was introduced to the world first in 2013 by Satoshi Nakamoto. Daniel felt that it sounds similar to other online payment options. He asked, what makes it so different? Frank explained, cryptocurrency is decentralized and free from any third-party interference, which means it is not issued and controlled.
So this is where it's kind of like, okay, now I understand why some people might be interested in cryptocurrency, because as you said, it's basically, it's not regulated by any government, and as people believe in liberation and basically freedom, and basically it's yours to own, it's yours to control, it's basically yours. And I kind of see that as far as like the independent side of things, but I'm still kind of like not convinced, right? So
by any government or central authority, unlike other payment systems that banks or governments are handling. And that's why a cryptocurrency transaction never fails. There could be many reasons for why Daniel's transaction failed, like he may have exceeded his transfer limit, or his account must have been hacked, Or there could have been some technical issue with his bank server, or maybe due to high transaction fees imposed by the bank. But on the other hand, cryptocurrency charges almost no or very low transaction cost. There is
Okay.
no limit.
This is okay. This to me is just kind of like just more hokey pokey and more like talk about like it's almost like a pitch. So we're gonna dive into an article. There's a lot of ads here, guys. So in this article, I'm just gonna go ahead and X out of what I can X out here. So we're gonna kind of dive into this article. This is from Forbes, and apparently cryptocurrency has been existing since '98 to 2009. There has been some element of crypto, right? But apparently it was first introduced in 2008, 2009 by a guy called Mr. Nakamoto. And I'm pretty sure, hopefully I'm not butchering the name, but Mr. Nakamoto, right? So this is the first person to basically, introduce crypto. And then Bitcoin was basically the first origin of crypto back in 2009. And in 2010, the valuation of crypto basically says in 2010, someone decided to sell theirs for the first time, swapping 10,000 for them for two pizzas. If the buyer had hung on to those bitcoins today, they would be worth more than 100 million. Okay, that's crazy. So crypto apparently back in 2010, which is 13 years ago, was worth nothing to the point in which somebody swapped 10,000 bitcoins for two pizzas. For two pizzas, that was a valuation of them was like, hey, I'll pay you 10,000 bitcoins for two pizzas. And someone was like, yeah, sure, okay, that's fine. I'll take it two pizzas. And apparently, if you had kept them right now, it'd be worth, 2022, 2023, it'd be worth about 100 million. And then around in 2011, you had other cryptocurrencies that started coming into play. And then 2013, it crashes, right? It crashes, and then people started, and I'm going to cover here. There's apparently people are scamming and using crypto to the point in which they're actually using it to, scam other people, and we're going to understand the dynamics of how people actually make money in crypto. And like I said, I'm not talking bad about crypto. Crypto is not something. I am coming at it from an uneducated perspective of somebody who's curious. Every time I make my life is because I'm genuinely curious and I'm sharing my curiosity with the audience. It's not because I'm trying to talk bad about a specific currency or a specific demographic, a group of people. I'm just very, very fascinated per se. And basically in my fascination, I'm just basically going ahead and doing some research. And so apparently in 2014, it gets crazy. And then 2016, you have Ethereum and all the other stuff that kind of comes in. So I kind of found out, and correct me guys, if you're a Bitcoin, Bitcoin nerd, or you like, that's your thing, or a crypto nerd, crypto person, is I think what Bitcoin, because in currencies, the US dollar, for instance, is basically traded in has serial numbers, right? So you have, for every dollar, let me see if I have a dollar. Yeah, no. But for every dollar that's basically out there, it's identified with a serial number, and apparently Bitcoin or crypto is basically just a set of serial numbers that are basically trading and fluctuating around. And I guess you can purchase crypto tokens or tokens. Those are easy to make, and people mine tokens. I think you mine tokens. Like I said, guys, this is just basically me coming out of my independent, curious research, right? So you can basically mine the tokens, and when you mine the tokens, you're basically able to use those tokens and exchange them in the crypto space for a bunch of other things. That might be it, that might not be it. I'm very, very curious what you guys' take on that is. Okay, so now what is very fascinating and what is very interesting to me is the sense as to how stable is crypto, right? Because if it's something that can be easily made, if it's something that is that can be, is it volatile, right? Because if you compare it to the stock market, if you compare it to the trading index, if you compare it to all those funds, how does crypto basically compare, right? So I kind of want to go ahead and let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, let's go ahead and split screen and record. So we got this is basically the Bitcoin volatility index, right? So in the last 30 days, it's been 0.64% volatile. In the last 60 days, it's been 1.28% volatile. Okay, now, okay, this is where it gets. I'm just trying to make my camera stable here, guys, because it's kind of going crazy on me. Okay, and then we kind of so this is a volatility index. If we average it out over the past from 2011, so from 2011, this is the volatility index here. So you see how volatile it looks like a heartbeat, if you ask me. This genuinely just honestly just looks like a heartbeat. That's what it looks like to me. It looks just like a heartbeat here is as you're basically navigating. And this is for Bitcoin to the US dollar comparison, and this is a 30-day comparison, and then you have a 60-day comparison here. So this is just basically a volatility index. And as we kind of dive a little deeper here, you have the average 30-day Bitcoin volatility. I know, guys, I'm kind of losing here, but there's a reason why I'm bringing this. I want to bring this on here so you can kind of understand the point, because as we dive deeper, then you're kind of going to know where I'm getting this from and where I'm basing my conclusion off of. And also, you can go ahead and basically give yourself the advice if Bitcoin is something that you should be investing in. Because a few weeks ago we covered that what you call it, the US dollar or any currency wasn't real, because it was basically being it wasn't backed by anything, right? It's basically the currencies that we have, fiat currencies, are basically, think about it as a promissory note, right? So you were basically promised that, hey, you know what, I give you this notes, you hang on to this notes, and whenever you come back, you can exchange this note for gold, right? So people were like, okay, good. So then we started trading the notes. We're like, hey, I have 50, $50 worth of gold in the bank. So I'll give you my $50 note, and then you can go ahead and exchange this, and I'll just exchange you the note. You can go ahead and go and cash out take my gold. I'll just go ahead and take the goods, right? So people started just exchanging the notes. So it was easier to trade that way, because whenever you go to the bank, you show them the notes, you can exchange the note for gold. And that's basically the valuation, how, currency is valued. And then now you kind of look at Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is not backed by anything, and neither is any currency. Most currencies are just backed by whoever's got the strongest military. If your military is stronger than this one, then you know what? You're the one with the top dollar there, right? So I guess that's where kind of like I'm going to see the argument for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin also as well is not backed by anything. But we go come back here to this volatility index here, guys. My insights on Bitcoin makes me think twice about investing. Your insights on Bitcoin makes me think twice about investing. Well, I haven't started yet, my friend. I haven't started yet. We're basically just getting started. As we get started, as we dive a little deeper, guys, we're gonna go ahead and kind of cut into basically the nooks and cranny of how everything works for the most part. So we kind of go in here and we have the 2010 stats. So average 30-day Bitcoin is basically 6.21%. And then we have 2011, 8.26%. 2012, we have 4.50%. 2013, we have 5.50%. And then you have pretty much as you navigate into 2021, you have the 4.56% index. So this is how volatile it is. Now, which is interesting, because if you compare the Bitcoin volatility, and you compare the Bitcoin volatility here, let me see if you guys can see my screen. Hopefully you can still see my screen. You compare the Bitcoin volatility, and you compare the volatility here to basically the what is this, the gold and other currencies. Gold has only been volatile for about 1.2%, and between 0.5, and other currencies vary between 0.5 and 1.0%, which means Bitcoin is currently right now 60-day estimates about 1.2%. So as of the past 60 days, Bitcoin has actually been not bad. It's doing not bad. Okay. But there's been a lot of people who have made money, and there's a lot of people who have lost money basically going into Bitcoin, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about the people who've lost money, people who've made money, right? But another thing to think about is crypto is not heavily regulated, right? So there's not a lot of, think about it from a perspective of the government does not have as much control, which is another reason why people invest in crypto, is because they're like, you know what, it's not regulated. It's my money. I don't have to worry about the banks. It can move, and I don't know if it's tracked or not tracked. That's something we gotta kind of look at. But I think it can be tracked. I'm not 100% sure, but let's see here. Can Bitcoin be tracked? Uh, okay, so here it says here. Let's see this here. It says contrary to popular opinion, contrary to popular Bitcoin is traceable. While your identity is not directly linked to your Bitcoin address, all transactions are public and recorded on the blockchain. So that means that in a way, shape, or form, Bitcoin is kind of it's very easy for Bitcoin to basically be traced. It's very easy for Bitcoin to basically be tracked. It's very easy for at some point for them to basically know the movement of the money. But I'm not going to get too crazy into that here. But what I want to kind of dive into here real quick here is basically the regulations, right? Are there any regulations in crypto? Who basically regulates crypto, right? So if we kind of come up here, let's get this. If we kind of come up here really quickly, it says the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Chicago Master Exchange, and basically this is just basically who are the regulators of crypto, right? But cryptocurrencies transactions between private users, usually if you have a private wallet or private wallet, are not regulated. So basically the bottom line of putting it is, unless you're purchasing something that's big, like a very, very big purchase, then you have to deal with crypto regulations. But if not, it's not necessarily regulated per se. Okay, so now we're kind of seeing here that crypto is not regulated. Now it gets better, guys. It gets better. So did you guys know that there are people actually out there who are basically using crypto because most people don't understand how I'm going to summarize to you guys how trading works. Trading works off of somebody comes in and buys at this price. Okay, so the concept of buying low. So they buy low, and then their anticipation is that the price or the market, whatever it is going to go up. And when they go up, they sell at this point. So now if they buy at $100, the current trading rate is about 150 because somebody else, they had a huge inflow of money come in, which reduced the scarcity of the product, which basically raised the value of it. So now we have it at 150, and if I sell it for 150, boom, I make a $50 profit. So the spread, that's where the money is. You make the money on the spread. Now, most people now with crypto is like, okay, since crypto is not regulated like the stock market or like in the exchange market, they're like, what about if they can go ahead and influence other people's decisions, right? You can create a crypto pump and dump, right? Create a crypto stuff. And then you get a lot of people to come in there. You get a lot of people to come into your crypto pump and dump. And when you get a lot of people to come into your crypto pump and dump, you basically they buy a lot, they basically give in, and then you come in on the other hand and you win, which morally is not right, which in general is not something in which anyone should basically be doing. But how do people do this? Let's go ahead and see. How do people do this? So one of the ways in which people do this is you have the fake Telegram groups. I cannot tell you how many times I'll get a Telegram message of, oh, this new cryptocurrency, this new crypto stuff should be bought, buy this, at this rate, or talking about how you whatever it is. That's just basically people trying to basically take your money, right? And you have basically the pump and dump crypto groups, which is basically, and it says in one of the oldest scams in the crypto industry, it's a pump and dump by scammer groups. So basically what they do is they create a channel, and then they basically get people tell you like, oh my God, this is a signal for this, buy now. They give you basically trading signals, and then people go ahead and buy in that trading signals. And when they purchase in those trading signals, they basically go ahead and inflate whatever it is, and then there's a huge dump, and then everyone loses their money. But the owners, the people who started the group, are the people who make the money, right? And that's why you have very famous actors that basically created cryptos, and then you have the crypto people lose your money on crypto. You have the FTX thing. You have the FTX stuff that happened, and you have people who lose money on that as well. So you have I would say numerous things that happen that cause people to basically go ahead and excited to learn about this topic. Casino Mass. Hi, everyone. Excited to learn about this topic. Hi, Casino Mass. Thanks for being here. And obviously, hopefully you're learning. Like I said, I'm also trying to learn as well. But let's go ahead and kind of educate each other for the most part together, per se, because as you guys know, we talk about everything financial stuff, right? So that's another thing that you kind of deal with is basically you have the crypto pump and dumps, and then you have the Ponzi schemes that people have. You have the Ponzi schemes, and then you have various scams that are out there, right? But the one that kind of baffled me the most, which was kind of the craziest one, was how people are using. I'm going to say this, guys. Let me bring this. Can someone sum up what's been discussed so far? I just joined the group. Can someone sum up what's been discussed so far? Sure, I'll sum it up in a bit. But you know what's interesting? So this is what's interesting. Is they're actually using artificial intelligence to go ahead and do this crypto scamming nonsense that's going on out there. And I want you guys to see this. This is an AI, basically a what's the word I'm looking for? Deepfake, right? We had covered deepfake and how AI has been used. So basically, now we're starting to get into the point of people who are actually using deepfakes, which to me is fascinating, but it just basically proves to the point that people who are stupid as low as possible to get whatever it is that they want. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this AI stuff that was used. And obviously you're going to be curious whose face did you guys think that they decided to use for this? They use obviously the one of the most famous and
what can you tell us about your project B and how it will help people get rich right now? Today we are launching an investment project that is working right now. If you see this video, absolutely everyone can earn it. Everything is very simple. You invest your money in Bitcoin for
just think. Did you see that? Did you okay, did you guys see that? Is they're literally what's the word? They're literally using Elon Musk's face. They're using Elon's face, which to me it's like really. And some people are gonna watch this and gonna go, oh well, what's the word? Some people are gonna watch this and be like, oh well, They're not gonna know that there's an AI world. But if you're watching this, for the most part, you guys understand and you guys know that in the industry and in the world that we're living in right now, you cannot everything you see on the internet. You almost have to basically double check and make sure you fact check it, right? So this is basically Elon Musk. They're creating it. Just look at how unnatural it is.
For TeslaTreebot.net is our
Look
bot,
at the mouth
after which
movement.
everyone who invested their cryptocurrency will be able to receive exactly 30% of dividends every day from the investment.
This was a real interview. This was a real interview that Elon did, and this interview was basically doctored and changed and modified to look like Elon was basically giving, crypto advice.
How long will it take for dividends to arrive? I'm sure that from 3 months. Is the number of seats unlimited? Yes, absolutely.
So this video obviously is not Elon Musk and it's fake and everything. It's a deep fake video, but it's actually pretty good. And I've seen
No, it's
videos
not.
like this pop up online a couple of times, and they're actually getting better and better. This is something investors may actually have to watch out at some point in the future, especially when it comes to cryptocurrencies. That's why it's always better to make sure you actually watch the real interviews and you actually check out social medias like with Elon Musk, because Elon confirms that this is not him. Which I've also seen the interview, the actual real interview they did, so I know it's not true. Double check.
So that's the thing is, guys, is you're kind of gonna get to a point in which you're like, you almost have to like start seeing the unnatural movement, and you start to see the unnatural movements and things, and that's basically another thing is people are doing to basically push crypto. And guess what? Somebody might believe that, and somebody might think it's real, right? But that's another thing as well that kind of makes me a skeptic on crypto is like it is not regulated, and because it's not regulated, let's kind of give one, it's not regulated. So not only is the crypto not regulated, so we have unregulated crypto, that's one. And then two, we also have basically a point in which basically people can go ahead and make stuff up out of thin air and then just push it and create fake Facebook groups to go ahead and push a false product. And that's another reason why I'm kind of also very skeptical and like not, very what's the word I'm looking for? Not very convinced when someone tries to tell me, crypto. But then again, like I said, there's probably somebody out there that's like, you know what, that's seen great results. I'm not going to knock it down. I'm not going to knock it down that you can't see that there is no way or it's not possible for you to see great results. Hopefully it's possible. Hopefully it's possible for people to see results. But for me, I'm still kind of a little bit on the concerned perspective per se. But I never know. You never know. Maybe you might find the next magical crypto coin thingy stuff that's out there. But now look, like what's okay, let's say like you're like, all right, you know what? Crypto, I believe in crypto. I love crypto. I think crypto is something that's here to stay. No one can tell me anything bad about it. I think crypto is a thing, all that good stuff, right? Let's say you're in that position, right? So what is another thing here is basically what are the Bitcoin predictions, right? What are some predictions for Bitcoin as far as what is going to happen? Is Bitcoin going to um is Bitcoin here to stay? What are a few things there? So basically, if we look at the predictions here, so based on this is all analysis, so this is not advising you on anything. So no one should take this as like, oh, you know what, this is professional advice, and like I should go ahead and do this and stuff. Okay, so based on analysis, Bitcoin's price will fall to about 2125 by the end of 2023, and basically this is a potential loss of 70% by the end of the year. This is all projections. Okay, by the end of 2025, we expect Bitcoin to rise to 45,200, a gain of 74.3% from today's price. Now, you know what's interesting? I'm going to say this. You know what's interesting? So I recently, I was talking to an acquaintance of mine. Okay, I was talking to an acquaintance of mine, and while we're having a conversation, let's see. I want to fix my camera here really quickly. Okay, good, perfect. So I was talking to an acquaintance of mine, and while we're having a conversation, we're basically interacting. He was like, he invested $3,000 in Bitcoin, I think in 2015 or 2016, or maybe even 2018. And because we had this conversation in 2021, I remember that 2021, 2022, we're having lunch. And he was like, yeah, he has about $3 million in Bitcoin. Right. So I was like, dude, that's crazy. He had $3 million in Bitcoin. So he was one of those people that became millionaires from Bitcoin. But before we talk about how many millionaires were created by Bitcoin, this is something is let's just go ahead and navigate these predictions real quick. And I'm going to share with you guys. Stick to the video. I'm going to share with you guys how many people became millionaires from Bitcoin and how many people lost money in Bitcoin. Okay. So to continue on here, we have basically based on analysis, Bitcoin's price will fall, and then we have 2023 predictions. Basically, this is the price history of the volatility. You have basically the tickers, and then you have your own prediction here. So just basically do your due diligence as far as like when it comes to Bitcoin, as far as when it comes to investing. But for the most part, is I want to go ahead and see. Let me see. Let's just go ahead and see how many people became millionaires from Bitcoin. How many people lost money in Bitcoin? So I want to go ahead and pull this article here. So how many crypto millionaires are there? Okay, so based on 24,223 bitcoins and 8,250 Ethereum wallets and current prices, there are an estimated 32,583 cryptocurrency millionaires in the world. Okay, there are approximately 24,233 wallets of more than 1 million. So which means there's about 24,000 people that are millionaires in Bitcoin, about 32,000 people that are millionaires in crypto space. And then you have for Tether, I don't know what that is. There are more than 100 wallets that contain more than 1 million tokens. Okay, so basically you have 100 people that are millionaires. So all in all, you have about 32,583 people that are millionaires in the Bitcoin space and in the Bitcoin world, which, to some people that's good, to some people that's bad, to some people it all depends. But now, how many people have lost money? Because if we have 32,000 people that have made money over the lifespan of Bitcoin, or let's say currently have money, because we know it's very, very volatile, how many people have lost money in Bitcoin? So basically, this is basically from the FTC. So this is the FTC website. So based off the FTC, there's roughly about reported crypto scam losses since 2021 top $1 billion. Okay, so there's been $1 billion lost. So according to the latest FTC Consumer Protection Data Spotlight, since the start of 2021, more than 46,000 people have reported, 46,000 people, so with 32,000 millionaires, 46,000 people have reported losing $1 billion in crypto scams. That's about one out of every $4 reportedly lost to fraud during that period. So it might not be just a bad investment, or they joined that Telegram group, or they went ahead and listened to some AI stuff, right? So you see, it's a combined problem of the ways that social media and crypto can form. So the quarter data spotlight, a combustible combination. Nearly half of the people who reported losing crypto to a scam since 2021 said it started with an ad. They saw an ad on social media, a post, or a message on a social media platform. Of those who specify the platform where the scam begins with the Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. Some of them might, this is 2021 data, so which means it's probably even on TikTok right now. So since 2021, $575 million of the reported crypto fraud losses involved bogus investment opportunities. So which means you had people losing 500 million. They lost about 575 million to investment related fraud. They lost it to you can become a millionaire overnight. Romance scams of 185 million. And then basically you have people posing as business imposters, cost them 93 million, and people posing as government imposters cost them about $40 million. So that's basically, analyzing the data and analyzing the stats, as you're seeing, is you have to basically do your due diligence when it comes to anything that it comes to do with cryptocurrency. It doesn't matter if you are, like, hey, it's whatever it is. You have to basically do your due diligence. That's basically it. So there's also another video here that I want to kind of cover here. This is a video by Robert Kiyosaki, and Robert Kiyosaki kind of goes in and kind of dives into talking about, he compares Bitcoin to gold. Right. And we're going to see, is it, he compares Bitcoin to gold.
Why do you think Bitcoin is going to survive all of this?
You're asking the wrong guy. In financial education, there's fundamental trading and technical. Technical is up and down. So when I saw Bitcoin go to 20,000, I don't know what it was. Then it dropped down to $1, so it's toast. But then it came roaring back. So when it hit 6,000, I bought 60 Bitcoin at 6,000. I think today it's at 20,000.
Yeah, it's around about 21,000.
Yeah, but so the more I'm in it, the more I realize it has sustainability. So the reason people buy Bitcoin is the same reason I buy this and I buy this, is I don't trust this.
Okay, so now, it's basically giving in and talking about the people that don't trust the US dollar, which, I mean, I understand. It's heavily inflated, and it's not backed by anything. There's nothing, right? So most people are looking for a safer alternative. But then again, is Bitcoin a safe investment? That's a question that you have to ask yourself. Is it actually genuinely a safe investment, right? Is Bitcoin something that you will consider in your likelihood, in your livelihood, as you as a person? Would you say that it is a safe investment? That's completely up to you. But then again, it's also, you're saying, you know what, if I have, my US dollar and I'm saving my US dollar, if we look at the current inflation rate, which you're also losing money, if you look at the current inflation rate, what do you call it? We have quote unquote, they're saying it is the inflation rate. Let me see if I can share this tab real quick here. This quote unquote, they're saying that the current inflation rate is roughly, you're looking at 3.2%. But come on, guys, you and I know that, you know, that data is it's way more than 3%. If we're actually, you know, going to be just based off of, because purchasing, it's way more than 3%. But I'm not in a financial advising space. I'm not going to advise you guys on that. That's basically, you know, you do your due diligence. That's you use your discretion, all that good stuff, right? So that is basically, you know, one of the things is to, now we're going to look into, is crypto actually is it a safe investment? Is it a something in which you're like, you know, and how does it actually compare? Because, you know, Kiyosaki just compared Bitcoin to what do you call it, to gold, right? So I want to actually see this really quickly here, right? So you compared Bitcoin to gold, and I want to go ahead and see, let's go ahead and pull this up here and see how Bitcoin performs um against other assets, right? So we have Bitcoin here. Basically, we're going to see comparing data. So basically, it says while Bitcoin's volatile, it has a potential for extremely high rewards. For example, Finbold from 2022 found that Bitcoin outperformed the top six tech scores stocks over a 30-day period with an average return on investment of about 12.24%. Bitcoin investment is straightforward and secure and digital assets. Okay. To put this in perspective, if you had invested $100 in Netflix, so this is just kind of like going into place. So if you look at Bitcoin versus gold, right, and it's saying here it's while Bitcoin lower than expected at the end of 2021, it outperformed gold for the third year in a row. Bitcoin was up 70% by the end of the year, while gold was down 7%. Okay, so this is comparing to gold. Now, how does Bitcoin perform to real estate? Now, real estate is something where people go into for the sake of security, for the sake of safety, for the sake of just overall, just like what's the word I'm looking for? People get into real estate because they try to build passive income, right? There's a whole concept of passive income, which you guys know I don't believe passive income is actually passive. But while real estate doesn't have the same historical high returns of stocks, it's a tangible asset with intrinsic value. This blah 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 yada. However, Bitcoin costs significantly. So this is not going to look at the comparison, because most of you know to get into real estate is a very expensive game to play, and versus you know, Bitcoin, which is not an expensive game to play. You can get in for lower, but also the risk is also higher. So however, Bitcoin will cost significantly less to invest in the real estate, and it doesn't come with continual maintenance requirements. And if you look at the last 5 years, investing in Bitcoin yielded higher returns than investing in real estate. For example, the Manhattan market has seen a home price drop of 31%. So if you invested in a down payment of 2017 and want to sell, you could be eating losses of around 450,000. So I don't know how true that is. So on average, this is just basically, but it then is going to compare. On average, home prices appreciate about 3% each year. So in the best case scenario, let's say you put 20% down on a $300,000 home 5 years ago, at an average appreciation rate, you'd be selling the home at for 347,000, making a profit of 47 and seeing a 79% IRR. Okay. However, had you put that down payment to a Bitcoin 5 years ago, you'd be seeing a total return of 3,112% and an ending value of approximately 1.9 million. So on one end, it's saying real estate, you could have made 47 grand, and another one you could have made about 1.9 million, but you could also be in the 46,000 people that also lost a few $billion, right? So now you're looking at how does Bitcoin compare to real estate? Right. So if you're looking at Bitcoin here, then it's going to look at the comparing it with a few stocks, right? There you have, you know, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, bonds, gold, dollar, and the S&P 500. So, and you see here the Bitcoin is outperforming each and every one of them, even though it's volatile. Now, my perspective on that is if you are a risk tolerant person, then if you tolerate risk, it might be something that's open to you. If you're not risk tolerant, then something that might not be open to you. It's all up to you. But then again, I'm not a Bitcoin guy. As you guys know, I don't own any Bitcoin, so I can't necessarily, you know, comment on the sake of like, should you get Bitcoin or should you not get Bitcoin? That's completely up to you, whatever it is that you decide to honestly do. Okay. So now we're looking at the comparisons as far as, you know, how it compares, you know, in you know, as to gold and as to real estate. Now, how does it even compare to stocks? This is what's fascinating to me, guys. I'm generally, I don't know if you're fascinated by this. I'm genuinely fascinated by this, right? So, you know, if you compare crypto to stock market, is comparing the returns, and go ahead and do me a favor, guys, get the likes up on this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's get this video up. All right. So comparing the returns of stocks to crypto, is a difficult task. S&P 500 has returned 10.9% annually over the past 10 years, whereas the Nasdaq on average is returned 14.4%, and then I think is the FTSE or whatever it's called, FTS. I think it's a British equivalent of the Nasdaq, returned an average of 7.4%. When comparing these figures, Bitcoin has returned 105%, and Ethereum has returned 663% since the inception. Okay. However, this is comparing apples to oranges. Okay, so if you basically as you look at this here, so the S&P 500 is up 5.4% versus Bitcoin is currently down. So if you're looking at it from basically to the Nasdaq, let's look at the Nasdaq. Trading on the Nasdaq exchange over the past year gave you a 28% rally, followed by 24% correction. Okay, just basically market fluctuations. Over a year of strong moves, only to bring us back to the square one. Okay, the entire crypto market is up 22% over the same period, but the only way to trade that is to construct your own crypto index. That's something for you to do. And then you look at this as to the FTSE. It is the FTSE, kind of a funny name. So it's basically the British equivalent or the British lesser known version of the NASDAQ. And it's showing here the index is up about 10% over the past year. And this is just basically, you can go ahead and look at this, do your own independent research there. But I don't want to get ahead of myself here. So I want to kind of talk about it in a sense as to, is crypto actually is it a safe investment, right? Would you consider crypto to be a safe investment? Okay. Is it a safe investment? So I want you guys to take a look at this. This is just basically a short article from Dave Ramsey's website talking about whatever you allow. This is in the words of whoever wrote this. This is not in my words. This is not me. But despite whatever you allow about the internet, the are true from the digital soapbox. Buying cryptocurrencies is a safe bet for your investing future. In fact, more than 80,000 Bitcoin millionaires who were living high on the hog saw their accounts drop several zeros during the crypto crash of 2022. So that's the thing is, there's a saying is, whatever comes easy would last, right? If something comes easy, if something comes in without hard work, if something comes in without you having to put in the work, it won't last, which is the struggles, and which is what's crazy, and which is what's like kind of like, for the lack of a better word, is you almost don't want the easy wins, because when you get the easy wins, you have to also deal with the fact that those easy wins are going to come at you it's going to come at you at a cost. So it's basically up to you to basically do your due diligence. I'm curious what you guys think there, but it's basically up to you to basically do your due diligence, because as we know, what comes easy will not last. So it's now you got to ask yourself a question of do I want the easy wins, or do I actually want something that's actually going to last long? And what's also interesting as well is this is what I see is very, very fascinating. What I see is very fascinating is in the past few years, since 2019, 2020, you have a huge influx of people basically making a lot of money, and most people have made that money without having to go through the struggles that it takes to make the money. They have had to go through the struggles without having to learn how to be people, how to be interactive with people. They've had to go to the struggles without having to be disciplined. They've had to go to the struggles without actually having to put in the work. They've had to go through it without having to learn the basically the secrets of life, and the understanding, the how to be of value to their fellow human being. Now, here's where the catch 22 comes in: is when you make $1 million off of crypto, it's not duplicatable, right? Unless you can go ahead and form your own Telegram group and force people to basically go and buy stuff, which is not ideal, which is not something that's morally right. But if you start your own Telegram group, or whatever it is that you start, and people go ahead and purchase this and go in there, and then there's a pump and dump, and then you make money off of those people, that's basically extortion. Okay, that's basically from a summary of it, a standpoint of it, that's basically you just basically taking advantage. So that's people who decided to see if they can control the market. They can control the market, but ideally and generalistically, crypto is not. And again, I'm still a skeptic on this. I'm going to see if someone can change my mind, if someone can basically convince me otherwise, to see that crypto is something that is not that is in some way, shape, or form beneficial. But for the most part, I'm still pretty much going to be a skeptic, because if you look at what happened with FTX and Backman Fried and all that good stuff, all that stuff just kind of makes me even more of a skeptic. Okay, now I want you guys to take a listen to this. So this is what Warren Buffett basically explains as to how people are actually making money off of crypto, and if it's something that he would actually even go ahead and do. So let's go ahead and kind of take a listen to this.
there's two kinds of items that people buy and think they're investing. One really is investing and the other isn't. If you buy something, a farm, an apartment house, or an interest in a business, and look to the asset itself to determine whether you've done something, what the farm produces, what the business earns, and so on. You don't really care what the stock market's open. You can do that on a private basis. In fact, you do it on a private basis if you buy a farm or apartment house generally. And it's a perfectly satisfactory investment. You look at the investment itself to deliver the return to you. Now, if you buy something, Bitcoin or some cryptocurrency, you don't have anything to produce anything. You're just hoping the next guy pays more.
And that's it. That's what he said. Is you're just literally hoping that the next guy pays more. There's no, it's not like it's not producing. There's no, and as you guys know, we talk about monthly recurring revenue, we talk about profits, talk about something actually it's generating some element of some sort of revenue. But when you're dealing with crypto, when you're dealing with all that stuff, it's not necessarily, it's like you said, you're just hoping that the next guy pays more. And I'm very fat, and which kind of brought me into the data. So I was like, what are the demographics of people that basically invest in crypto? What's the demographic of people that invest in crypto? And I kind of came up to, this is a Pew Research. This is, you can go to pewresearch.org, you can find this data. So basically it says it as of 2021. So this is 2 years old, which means, now it's probably changing. As they found, men ages 18 to 29 stand out for saying that basically we have the current age group that usually invest more. You have 23% men, 9% women. You have 18 to 29. You have 28%. You have basically 30 to 49. You have 23%, and 50 plus. You have 7%. So usually the Gen Xers and the baby boomers are like, you know what? That's not necessarily like a sweet spot that I want to be in. I'm going to trust more other investments. Now it might be people like, hey, it might be just a time thing, or people might be like, well, they're old and do not get it with the times. That's your prerogative. That's up to you to form that conclusion if that's a conclusion that you want to go ahead and form there. But you have the age group here. You have mostly the demographic that invests more. You have men usually are the ones that do, and you have women are usually less, on that end. And then here you kind of look at the dynamics you can see, and then you can go ahead and do this, find this data yourself. Like I said, guys, I'm just bringing the data to kind of understand, but you can go ahead and fact check me and go to Pew Research and find it yourself, or do your own independent research, right? But I want to continue more on the end of as to Warren Buffett, and this is a longer form video, and we're going to basically end on this video, and I'm going to go ahead and give my summary. And this is a video by
I shouldn't answer any questions on the subject, but I will. There's all kinds of people watching this that are long Bitcoin, and there's nobody that's short.
Let's see here. Let's make this full screen. Looks like, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and make this full screen. But this is going to be a video by what's his name?
Well, I shouldn't answer any questions on the subject, but I will. There's all kinds of people watching this that are long Bitcoin, and there's nobody that's short, and nobody wants their windpipe stepped on. I don't blame them. I don't like people who step on my windpipe. But I would say this, that if the people in this room owned all of the farmland in the United States, and you offered me a 1% interest in it, and you said, for a 1% interest in all the farmland in the United States, pay our group, let's see, 10 trillion, pay us this bargain price, $25 billion. I'll write you a check this afternoon, $25 billion. Now I own 1% of the farmland. If you tell me you own 1% of the apartment houses in the United States, and you offer me a 1% interest, so I'll have a 1% interest in all the apartment houses in the country, and you want whatever it may be for it, call it another $25 billion or something, I'll write you a check. It's very simple. Now, if you told me you owned all of the Bitcoin in the world and you offered it to me for $25, I wouldn't take it, because what would I do with it? I have to sell it back to you one way or another. I mean, maybe I have the same people, but it isn't going to do anything. The apartments are going to produce rental, and the farms are going to produce food. And if I've got all the Bitcoin, I'm back where whatever his name was, who may or may not have existed, was 15 years ago. If I've got it all, he could create a mystery about it. But everybody knows what I'm like. I mean, so if I'm trying to get rid of it, people will say, well, why should I buy some Bitcoin from you? I mean, why don't you call it Buffett coin? Make your own or something. What? Do something. But I'm not going to give you anything for it. And you'd be right, incidentally. But that explains the difference between productive assets and something that depends on the next guy paying you more than the last guy got. Now, net.
So if you guys see, obviously you've seen the summary of it. It's basically just dependent on the next guy paying more money, and that's basically the summary of it. That's basically what the summary and the conclusion of Bitcoin. So I'm very curious what your take is on this, guys, because obviously for me, my summary of it is Bitcoin and the best something that might make you money? Absolutely, you're gonna make money. Is it Bitcoin is something that might cost you money? Absolutely. So you have two ends of the same stick where you can make money from Bitcoin. You have the same stick, end of two ends of the same stick where you can lose money from Bitcoin. That's up to you. I'd say this as a listener to formulate your opinions on this. If that's something that's worthy of to you, I'm not going to give financial advice. I'm not going to tell you that this is something I believe you should do. It's something you shouldn't do. Personally, for me, this is something which I'm personally still on the fence because, like I said, it's not an asset. It's an asset that's very much dependent too much on luck, and it's also an asset dependent on the other person paying more, right? In which, in a sense, it's kind of like gambling. It's basically a gamble. So, which means the gamblers to make money from it, but then there's also the liability of you getting. It's not controllable. It's not predictable. So, which means which means it's also the ability where you might lose money. Now, like I said, maybe it's just me being uneducated on the subject. Possibly, that's possibly it. But then again, it's up to you to do your own independent research. It's up to you to do your own, to formulate your own opinions. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you that Bitcoin is bad or Bitcoin is good because someone's watching this right now and makes money from Bitcoin. Someone's watching this and lost money from Bitcoin. You do your own independent research. But that's for me. That's the research I did today. I was kind of curious about it. Like I said, tune in tomorrow, guys, because we're going to do another live and, talking about something else that's interesting, some curious topic that's out there. And thanks again for the loyal fans and all the supporters that are on this channel. And obviously, like I said, guys, it's always been a pleasure. It's always been awesome. And make sure to just do a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and go ahead and share this video with friends and family if you believe that this video is of any way valuable to them. And thanks again, guys. And always, like I say, enjoy.